Welcome back to another Android tutorial. In this video, we are going to learn about how to filter items on a recycler view by placing a search view on the toolbar. Here is our Android application. Here is a simple recycler view. Here each item on the recycler view is a card view. Each card view contains an image view and a text view. On the toolbar, there is a search icon is available. If you click the search icon, it will convert into a search view. So now here I am going to make some search. And here you can see that when I provide an input on the search view, the recycler view filter automatically. Now we are going to recreate this entire Android application. Create a new Android Studio project. So first here I am going to create the recycler view. If you already know about how to create a recycler view similar to this one, you can skip to the search view section. You can use the link provided on this video. So the first step, we are going to create the recycler view similar to this one. So here we need to add a recycler view and a card view. So you need to provide the needed dependency on the Gradle script file. So first here I am going to add the needed Gradle script for using a recycler view. Now we need to add the needed dependency for using a card view. Okay, now made a project sync. Okay, now the project sync finishes successfully. For this application, there is no need of an action bar. Instead of this default action bar, we are going to use a toolbar. So now we need to remove this default action bar. So go to styles.xml and here you need to make some change. Here I am going to change this one into no action bar. This will remove the default action bar from this application. Okay, now the action bar is gone. So now we need to create the recycler view. So for this recycler view, we need some images and we need some country names. So here I have some country flags, so I copy all these images. Now go to the drawable folder and paste all the images here. Okay, now all the images are available inside the drawable folder. Now go to mainActivity.java. Here I'm going to add some array values. Here I add two arrays. First one is a string array that contain all the country names, and second one is an integer array that contain the resource identifier of all images available on the drawable folder. So here each row is a card view and each card view contains an image view and a text view, and each item is a separate layout file. So now we need to create a separate layout file for each items. So create a new layout resource file. Specify a file name. I name it as raw layout. Okay, now here I made the needed changes on the raw layout.xml. Here the root element is a linear layout, and in that linear layout here I place a card view, and within that card view here I place a relative layout. That layout contain an image view with ID flag and a text view with ID name. So this is the final output. So this will represent each item on the recycler view. Now we need to create a bean class for the recycler view. So create a new Java class. I name it as country. Now here create some variables. Private string name. Now create some integer variable, private int flag ID. Now create getter and setter methods for these two variables. Now we need to create a constructor for this class. And for this constructor we need two parameters. Second parameter is the flag ID. Now from this constructor we are going to call the setter methods and pass the parameter name. Now call the second method set flag ID and pass the parameter flag ID. Now we need to create an adapter for the recycler view. So create an adapter, create a new Java class, specify the class name as recycler adapter. And extends adapter. Now implement the needed methods. Implement methods. So first here I am going to create the view holder class. My view holder that extends view holder. And for this class it needs a constructor now for this method, here the return type is an object of the view holder class. And for this method, the first parameter is an object of view holder class. Here I am going to create some array list that contains some object of the country class. Now create a constructor for this class with one parameter, that is an array list. Now from the constructor, here I am going to initialize the array list. Now from the get item count method, here return the size of the array list. Now within the view holder class, here I am going to create some variables. First one, create a variable for image view. Now create a text view. Now from the constructor of this class, I am going to initialize these two variables. typecast that one into an image view. So now use the parameter item view. Now find it. Now initialize the second variable cname. It is a text view. Now find it by using the parameter item view. Name. Now go to the onCreateViewHolder method. Here create some variables for view. Layout inflator dot from. Use the parameter parent. Get context. Now use the method inflate. Inflate the row layout. Now pass the view group. Here it is parent. And one more argument, that is a boolean false. So from this method we need to return an object of the view holder class. So create a view holder object and pass the view argument. Now go to the onBind view holder. So here we need to set the resources for the text view and image view. So holder dot cflag set image resources. Now get the object from the array list. So array list dot and use the position parameter. Now call the getter method, get flag id. Now set value for the text view. Set to text. Array list dot get the item by using the position argument. Now call the getter method. Here it is get name. Okay, now the adapter is ready for the recycler view. Now go to activity main.xml. So remove all these margins. First here I am going to change this one into a linear layout and specify an orientation for this layout. Orientation into vertical. Now here I am going to add the recycler view. Specify the width as match parent, height is also match parent. Now specify an ID for the recycler view. So now we need to place a toolbar. So for placing the toolbar, here I am going to create a separate layout file. I name it as toolbar layout, and here the root element is a toolbar. We have to change the layout height. Height into action bar size. Now specify the background color for the action bar. Color primary. Now specify a theme for this toolbar. For that we need an additional XML namespace. Change the identifier into app. And here you need to change this one into resource auto. So by using the newly created namespace, you can call the theme option. Here we need to use a dark theme. Okay, now the toolbar is ready. One more thing, we need to provide an ID for the toolbar. Okay, now the toolbar is ready. Now we need to place the toolbar on the main layout. So go to activity main.xml. We need to place the toolbar at the top of the recycler view. So here you need to include the layout. Okay, now the toolbar and recycler view is ready. Now go to main activity.java. Here we need to create some variables for toolbar. Now initialize that variable toolbar. First typecast that one into toolbar. Now find it. Now set the supported action bar into toolbar. Now we can create the recycler view. So for that we need to create some variables. First create some variables for recycler view. Now create the adapter for recycler view. Now create some layout manager variable. Now we can initialize these variables. Here we need an array list also that contains some object of the country class. Now initialize the variables. First initialize the recycler view. First typecast that one into recycler view. Now find it. Now initialize the layout manager. It is a linear layout manager. Pass the context. Now set the layout manager for recycler view. And set has fixed size into true. Now we can set up the adapter. For that, here create some variables. Int count equal to 0. Now initialize some for each loop. Initialize the for each loop with the string array cnames. Cnames. Now from this for each loop, we need to create an object of the country class, and we have to add each of that object into the array list. So array list dot add. Now here we need to create object for country class. New country. First pass the name. Now the flag ID. For that we can use the count variable. So here we create object for the country class and we add each of that object into the array list. And we have to increment value of count by 1. So now we can call the adapter. So adapter equal to new recycler adapter and pass the array list. And finally we can set adapter for the recycler view. And pass the adapter. Okay, now we finished the RecyclerView section. Now we can test it. So run the application. And here is the RecyclerView. So now we finished the RecyclerView section. Now we can start the SearchView section. Now the RecyclerView is working fine. Now we need to place a search view on the toolbar. For using a search view, you need to add an additional dependency. So go to the grid script file, and here you need to place an additional dependency. Here you need to add the design dependency. Now make a project sync. Now the project sync finishes successfully. Now on the toolbar, we need to place a search icon. So here we need to add an image asset. Change this one into action bar and tab icons. Now select an image. Change name into IC action search. Change theme into hollow dark and click finish. Now we need to add some menus. For that, you need to create a new directory. So right click the application and select and throw it a resource directory and specify the directory name as menu. And here the resource type is values. Now right click the menu folder and create a new menu resource file with file name menu items. Here we need an additional XML namespace. Change the identifier into app, and here it is resource auto. Now here add a new menu item. Specify an ID for the item. I name it as action search. Now specify a title for the item. Now specify an icon for the item. And here I add another two additional attributes called ActionView class and Show as Action. Here the ActionView class is and through it support v7 with get SearchView, and Show as Action always or collapse ActionView. And make sure that you use the newly created XML namespace for these two attributes. So this is the menu item. Now go to mainActivity.java. Here you need to override one method called onCreateOptionsMenu. From this method you need to inflate the menu. Get menu inflator. Now call the method called inflate. Now get the menu, and the layout file name is menu items. Now you need to pass the parameter menu. Now from this method you need to return true. Now we can test it again. Run the application again. Okay, now a search icon is available on the toolbar. If you click the search icon, it will convert into a search view. So now we need to perform the filter operation. So each time when user enters some input through the search view, we need to get that input. For that, you need to implement some interface. So implements, you need to implement the onQuery text listener, and you need to implement the needed methods. Here you need to implement two methods, onQuery text submit and onQuery text change. Now go to the onCreate options menu. Create some variables called menu item, menu dot find item, r.id dot action search. Now create some variables for search view, menu item compat dot get action view, and pass the menu item. Here you need to typecast this one into search view. Now set the listener, set query text listener. So when user inputs some values through the search view, this method will invoke. OnQuery text change method will invoke, and we got the user input from this parameter called string new text. So now we need to add a method inside the adapter. So go to the recycler adapter, and here I'm going to add a method with method name set filter, and here we need one parameter. It is an array list that contains some object of country class. I name it as new list. Now here reinitialize the variable array list. Now add the new list to this array list. So array list, and call the method add all, and pass the new list. Now there is some changes in the array list. So that means there is some changes on the adapter. So we have to refresh the adapter. For that, you need to call a method called the notify data set change. This will refresh the adapter. Now go to main activity.java. So when user enters some inputs through the search view, this method will invoke, and we got the user input within this parameter called the new text. So new text equal to new text, and change that one into lowercase. Now here I create a new array list that contains some object of country. I name it as new list. Initialize that variable new array list. And start some for each loop. Initialize this for each loop by using the array list. Now get the name from each of the array list object. Country.getName, and convert into lowercase. Now here we need to check some condition. If name contains our new list, in that case we need to add that particular country object to the newly created array list. So new list dot add and pass the object, current object. Now we need to change the adapter. For that we have to call the method. So adapter dot set filter and pass the newly created array list, new list, and return true from this method. Now we can check the application again, run it again. Okay, now we can perform a search. Now it is working fine. This is how we filter a recycler view by placing a search view on the toolbar. I hope you understand the concepts. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.